Welcome, welcome, welcome. This is the Photography Guru once again, and today I want to look at very simple but effective sky replacement. As photographers, we all know that we want to get it right first time. We want everything to look good in camera. But Mother Nature being as she is, this isn't always possible. As you can see, this other ordinary image of a railway station has been affected with just a plain white sky. Now this is quite common, and as this station is fairly close to me, I could go back there when the skies are a bit more interesting, but that's not always possible either. You might be on holiday, it might be a planned trip, and we have to work with what we're given. So what we're going to do is replace this sky with something a little more interesting. First of all, I'll do my normal preparations of the image. I'll do all of this very quickly. If I grab my highlights, click my clipping tool now, you can see I'm clipping in the sky. That's fine. I don't plan on keeping the sky can do what it wants. We're getting some clipping here. So I'm going to back off there. I'm going to open that image in Photoshop. So here we have the image, and let's get straight into the sky. I've chosen a sky earlier from my library. I strongly suggest whenever you see a good sky, photograph it. There's always the chance that you might be able to use it. What we do then is pick up the sky, drag it to our layer, pull it back down, and there's our sky. Now I'm going to zoom out, and I want to lay that somewhere on the horizon line. Need to stretch it, just put it back on the horizon, about there. And now I'm going to duplicate that layer and Command T on the Mac, transform, Control T on Windows, and then I can right click on the layer and flip vertical. Now I can pull this layer down and line up my two horizon lines, and as you can see, it doesn't quite fit and cover the whole image. So what I'm going to do is right click again and select distort, and now I can stretch this bottom sky image to the size of our photograph. Now that's done, I'll agree with that, and holding shift, select both of our sky layers and then right click on either of them and merge layers. Now I'm just going to select the crop tool and OK, just to crop the whole image, and Command 0, Control 0 on Windows. We go to our blending layer and pull that down and select multiply. Now you can see we've got the sky on there. We haven't got any ghosting or halos around the trees or the buildings, which is great. But what we have got is we have darkened the whole image a little, but then the sky is darker, so the ground would be darker. But also you can see the colours are represented on the floor. Now that's as they would be, but they wouldn't be as harsh or as strong as they are in the sky. So we need to rectify that. So selecting the background layer and the quick selection tool, we'll just move across, selecting everything on the horizon line. I'm just doing this very quickly. Select the hotel there. Now if I increase my brush size with the right square bracket, make sure I get rid of all the marching ants and select all of the background, not the sky. Just a quick look round. I haven't got any marching ants anywhere we don't want them. And then right click and down to feather, and I've already got a radius of 5 pixels, which is what I always work with on an image of this size, and OK. Now if I click on the sky layer, my marching ants are still there. We're going to affect the sky layer with a Gaussian blur. So if we look at filter, down to blur, across and down to Gaussian blur. And you can see, if you look in this area here on the platform, if I turn the preview off and on, it greatly softens the lines created by the sky and the clouds. We can reduce the radius and it becomes harsh again. We can increase it more for even softer, but I think on this one around the 150, 147, that's okay. And I'll okay that. Now I can deselect my marching ants, and that's the basis for an image with a changed sky. Okay, overall it's darker. In real terms it would be difficult to use this because the sun is here, and so this train would cast a shadow. These poles would all have shadows. Yes, we can make shadows, and there are tutorials of mine to do that. Also, you might wish to brighten the whole image. There's many ways we can do that. So just to run through that again, let's work with another image, see what we can do. Here's a lighthouse I called up earlier. Haven't done anything to it at all. It's a little bit too bright here, but the sky, it's okay. But again, let's put something a bit more interesting on it. I like this sky a lot, so I'm going to use that. So again, we should just pick it up, take it to the layer we want. The target is different, but that really doesn't matter. I shall zoom out a little so I can see what I'm working with. The beauty of sky is you can distort sky and clouds, and most of the time it's impossible to tell. Unless you've got the moon or the sun, there's a perfect ball in the sky, it's difficult to tell that we've stretched or distorted anything. So again, I'm going to copy that layer, then hold Command T for transform, right click and flip vertically, and pull that down to get my horizons lined up together. Just go over a little. That's great. So that's okay. Again, hold Shift, select both layers, right click, into merge layers, and there they're merged. Again, I'm just going to remove all the unwanted edges. That's great. Again, Command O, zoom out a fraction, and now once again we shall change this to multiply. Now this is an interesting outcome, and one that you'll come across quite a lot. You can see here we've lost the lighthouse behind the clouds. It's never going to happen, it's in front of the clouds. But we will fix that in a few minutes. So again, what I'm going to do is grab the background layer, select the quick selection tool, and just very quickly go over this. You really want to take more time when you're doing this, and also want to select there, selecting the lighthouse. As I say, I'm not doing it perfectly. It's a very quick job I'm doing here, just for demonstration purposes. And again, I want to right click and just check my feather, which I know will still be set to 5 pixels, and I can OK that. So now to click on the sky layer, if I go to my filter layer, blur, Gaussian blur, and again straight away, really soften those lines. If we look at the lighthouse and I take the preview off the blur, you can see these clouds. The lines of the clouds are all across the lighthouse. Here we've softened them. It looks like they're taken away. If we weren't quite so soft, they come back. Or we can be harder with them. But again, around the 140 mark for this suits me. Just have a quick review over the whole image. That's great. So, okay that. Now at this stage you might want to manipulate some more, so you can do whatever layers you like, but if we select, let's say, a curves layer, because the layer we were on already had the marching ants on, when we selected the layer it automatically created a mask for that. So now I can affect just the sea and the land with the curves layer, so I can bring up those shadows a little, drop the highlights, try and bring it back to a nice even tone across the whole image. We're losing the lighthouse here. Again, I could put another mask on this just to bring this back. There's many things we can do, but as this is just to show you what you can do with replacing skies, that's a quick, easy and simple method. And I think if we look at the original image and what we've got now, the sky is a vast improvement. Again, I believe we should really brighten the whole thing. Depends on what we're using it for. If we're taking it to print, we know it needs to be a lot brighter. If we're putting it on the internet, not quite so bright. So, as with everything, experiment, play with it. But there we have two nice renewed skies. Hope you found it interesting. Hope you have fun experimenting with that. As always, if you've got any questions or comments, or you want me to cover anything in particular, drop it down in the comments below. If you've enjoyed this video, give me a like. If you haven't, don't press anything. And join me again soon. Thank you.